delighted that we have achieved, not just myself, but all those who voted out that regime. We have achieved the regime change that we wanted for the betterment of our country.
Former President, how did you achieve this? And you were part of this former regime in terms of the party previously, not this regime. But how did you manage to dislodge the BDP?
Well, I came back about 6 weeks ago to the country, and I needed to do that in order to join with others to engage in a campaign around Botswana to talk to people and try to convince them to understand the importance of our future and what it means for our country if we were to remove these people who were in power. So over a period of about 3.5 to 4 weeks, I crisscrossed the country. I think I addressed about 92 rallies, traveled several thousand kilometers, going around and telling people, not that they needed much convincing, I must add, but just to remind them about the situation that existed and how they had been subjected to so much suffering and lack of freedoms and democracy, and how our economy had declined under the Masisi regime. And people were very receptive because they were actually experiencing this pain that they were going through over his abuse of office.
When you look at the current president, Duma Boko, you know him very well. When you were in government, he was already there. What's your view in terms of your expectations from this leadership?
Well, they have put out a manifesto, and I've heard him speak at rallies and in public at press conferences about what he intends to do. And it's all very encouraging. And the expectations we have are very high of what he will be able to do, not only to take the country forward, but to also repair the damage that has been done. Because that is going to be their first big challenge, is that we have got a seriously depressed economy. We've had a very serious decline in democracy, but I think that can be rolled back quite quickly. The economy is the biggest challenge I think they're going to have. And I think they've got their work cut out for them to get us out of the deep rut that we have been thrown into by the previous regime. So listening to him, I think it's very encouraging. And like I said, there are high expectations, and we wish him all the best.
Are you not going to regret?
Well,
again?
You know, you're probably saying that after I was the one who made the big mistake of appointing Masisi in the first place to be my vice president and then was my successor. But really, I don't think history can repeat itself. There's only one Masisi, there's only one Donald Trump. I don't think that will happen. And, you know, he has seen as the country, every citizen in this country can see what happens when you have the kind of leadership we had under Masisi. And I think that will also keep him very much on the straight and narrow. He's also an advocate, he's a lawyer. And he's someone who will definitely respect the Constitution and the rule of law, which was undermined regularly by Masisi.
Looking at days now, we're looking at the swearing in of members of parliament and, of course, the inauguration. What do you expect? Do you expect him to invite other parties to be part of government?
Really, I cannot say. I'm not in the capital at the moment, so I haven't had that opportunity to be involved in any discussions or negotiations on that one. But I really don't know what his intentions are at this stage. But I'm sure even if he doesn't do it now, he can always do it sometime in the future. It doesn't have to be right away now that he has to bring others from other parties into his government. But because they came up with their own manifesto, They have won the majority, so they have got the right to rule the country on their own. If they bring in others, it'll of course be a bonus, but we'll wait and see.
Have you spoken to former President Masisi?
No, I have not.
Why?
Well, first of all, there hasn't been the opportunity, and I don't think I'm inclined to anyway at this moment in time.
Former President, let's look at the way forward in terms of your future and your future programs or plans. What are you up to? Are you going to continue to be involved in politics, or what are you going to do? Are you going to rally behind this new government?
I stood back. I've given up politics as from midnight on Sunday, a couple of days ago. I'm now in Soroe, which is the center of the tribe that I belong to. I've indicated my intention to take up the chieftainship of the tribe on a full-time basis. I'll continue to be involved in charitable ventures as well as conservation. And there are also some continental projects that I'm involved in as well, including the Pan-African Heritage Museum, of which I'm the patron of, which has been built in Ghana, which is going to be a one-stop shop for all Africa's traditions and heritage that people of the continent and the diaspora would be able to visit and be able to look back in history at all our cultures and traditions, including the current ones, and also in the Leadership Awards, which recognizes those people on the continent who have excelled in their specific fields. So those are the kind of things that I'll be doing.
And in terms of the region, what is it that the region can learn from what happened in South Africa a few months ago and now Botswana, as we are looking forward to Namibia?
They can learn that nothing is permanent in life, and that if they are true democracies, if they do not govern to the expectations of their people, they should expect to be replaced by others. There's, like I say, there's no fixed time, there's no fixed limit that any party should be given. It should be purely based on their ability to serve the people. And if they don't serve the people, they should expect that this disastrous result that the BDP faced, now with only 4 seats in a 61-seat parliament, is a crushing defeat. And that will come to them as well if they do not come up with people-centered policies and programs.
In terms of the cases that you were facing, you were in court a few weeks ago. What's happening in terms of those cases?
Well, it was just one case which has been postponed yet again, as it has been for more than 2.5 years. It has never got underway. And it's now, the last time it was recently just postponed now to the 29th of November. So we'll go along again and see what happens when we get there. Whether it will continue, whether charges will be withdrawn, because those were politically motivated, we all know that by now. So we'll see what happens on the 29th of November.
And finally, former President, you spoke about Trump, you touched on the name Trump. Americans are currently voting, and they are going to decide who will lead the United States of America. Have you been following the developments or the US elections, and what's your view?
Yes, I have been following. It's very difficult really not to follow, because it's been on the main news channels, for days, weeks and months now. And my view is that really there's no choice. It can only be Kamala Harris who is the only fit person to lead that country. Donald Trump is a total disaster. He's a racist. He is a dictator. He's everything you can think under the sun. The worst kind of person you would ever want to lead a country. And the fact that he has got so much support, and we are talking about, they say the polls are 50-50. It's just unbelievable that there could be people who could follow a man like that. So for the good of America and for good for the international community, I hope that he is rejected like he was the last time.
You have been accused of allowing the Americans to have a military base in Botswana. What's your response? Is there a military base belonging to the Americans in Botswana?
I would like to say categorically, and I would invite, if I had the authority to do so, but I don't now, but I would invite anyone to come and show us where these military bases are. There are no American military bases in Botswana, period. I've heard it being said, even some of your politicians there in opposition have talked about air bases belonging to the Americans, and that it would be a few minutes flight from those air bases into South Africa, and that is something which would be a threat to your country. There's nothing like that. There is no military base belonging to the Americans or any other country for that matter within the borders of Botswana.
Former President, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Nice talking to you.
Are you going to the inauguration?
Yes, I expect to on Friday, yes.